My definition of bullying is the mistreatment of individuals for no other reason but to make someone else feel bad.
I think my definition of bullying would be making another person feel bad for like a part of who they are or their identity.
Someone, I guess, that you see in the movies. So like one of the kids, male or female, that gets like pushed into the lockers or just constantly picking on somebody.
So for me, to be very frank, it's a hate crime.
When one person or a group of people are being shamed for something that they have that's different than the people who are enforcing it on them.
An environment that is like in a way where there's like no reconciliation ever. Like the person never gets to like understand why you're doing these things, and it's more about the emotional impact, I guess. Like
When you make another person feel less than.
So making somebody feel small is like the best definition that I have. Treating them less than, and like making them feel bad, like physically, emotionally, or like verbally, I would define as.
For me, growing up, that's a lot of stuff that I used to see. Nowadays, there's more to that.
I believe that bullying is when another individual is taking out possibly anger or frustration on another person.
Whenever an individual says hurtful things that make another person feel anything from insecure to hurt,
With maybe no backing towards that particular individual.
I think people bully others because it comes from a place of them being hurt, so they hurt others. I believe hurt people hurt others.
How do you feel like White Oak compares to other schools when it comes to the amount of bullying incidents that you have to deal with?
Since I had two different roles, I feel like I see it more here. I didn't realize how bad bullying, like just how common and how frequently bullying happens, like for more of an administrator role. So I would say it happens more here than in my previous campus.
from what I've seen, I do believe it's gender neutral.
I don't think that it's publicized as most when we think about maybe possibly boys being bullied, but I do think that it is very prevalent on both genders.
Oh, I don't think so. I've never thought of it as gender specific.
I think every, like, not just a gender, but everyone in general, like as a person handles things differently.
In my professional experience, I've seen the bullying go both ways. However, I've most often seen it go girl to girl, boy to boy.
Yes, I think we're like trained a little bit differently in society, but based on our gender to deal with bullying differently.
For me, if someone is, I don't know, like tugging at my shirt, I may just be like, okay, that's not considered bullying to me, because I guess everyone was just taught a certain way. So I don't think it's just gender specific. I just believe it's more of how you were brought up as what bullying is, or how to treat others in general.
I've seen boys and girls, males and females, both experience bullying, and I've seen both genders bully.
I believe that both genders get bullied.
I think boys and girls can bully, and both can also be bullied.
I think girls we think that girls will be more like verbal and emotional bullies to each other, and that we expect like boys not to do that, but I think that comes like across the board, and we're just trained to deal with it differently based on who we are, or who we are told that we are.
Did you know nearly 75% of school shootings have been linked to harassment and bullying? More than half of bullying situations, 57% to be exact, stop when a peer intervenes on behalf of the student being bullied. Did you know that 11% of students in Houston did not go to school at least one day because they felt unsafe? And among middle school students, 24% are cyberbullied and 45% are bullied on school property. Did you know that only 7% of US parents are worried about cyberbullying, yet 33% of teenagers have been victims of cyberbullying? For every suicide among young people, there are at least 100 suicide attempts. 71% of school shooters have been victims of bullying. I had the distinct privilege of interviewing 2 bullying victims. These 2 victims may be familiar to some of you guys. Please place close attention as they allow us into their world and relive their past hurt and pain as victims.
In first grade, I got type 1 diabetes, and during that time, it was like, when you're in first grade, everybody brings cupcakes for birthday parties or candy for Valentine's Day, and because I was new to diabetes, I wasn't able to partake in those things. And a lot of the time, people told kids that diabetes was because you were overweight or you ate too much food, too much junk food, things like that. And so I used to get made fun of for not being able to partake in the parties because I was on the chunkier side when I was in elementary school.
I can remember being in middle school, and I am a very taller woman, and I can remember boys and girls bullying me because I was about 5'8" in the 7th grade, so that's pretty tall. It's very close to the height I am now, and I can remember being called giraffe or zebra or all kind of names, being called names because I wore extensions in my hair, saying you wear horsehair, and or because of the complexion of my skin as well. Honestly, even as an adult right now, I can catch myself where I can hear adults or someone says like, oh my God, you're so tall, or oh my God, you're so skinny. And to me, that is a form of bullying.
You mentioned something interesting in saying that sometimes even now as an adult, when you hear like you're so tall or you're so skinny, many people may mean that with positive connotation, but you took it in a different way. So what advice would you give to others when they maybe want to just give someone a compliment? Like what are your thoughts of that when you just want to give people kind words?
I think if someone wants to be thoughtful and kindful, just to be direct and say how you truly feel and maybe not joke about it, because sometimes you never know what a person has been through or what they're going through at the time. So if you could just be straightforward and say like, hey, I really like this about you. Or if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. When I think about how it made me feel, I thought about, was there something wrong with me, or is it a problem because I'm too tall?
Enraged, mad.
I was at an age where I did not know how to embrace it or accept myself at all. And I could just remember like talking to my mom about how I felt or how other people made me feel.
Made me feel like really isolated and like ashamed of my diabetes, and it's not something that I could have prevented.
And I know that I felt very low, and it hurt my self-esteem a lot. At no point, no one in particular intervened. I think that my respect for myself and my self-awareness started to heighten and started to change, and I started to accept myself for who I was.
My teacher, once we were able to get more information about it and like teach her about it, she then took time out to make sure that I was like never singled out. Like she would bring other snacks while birthday parties would go on, or like sugar-free candy, so I could have fun while everybody else is. Intervene, support that student that's being bullied.
Speak up. There's power in numbers, and sometimes people, they bully people who they feel like are alone or nobody is going to speak up for them, and you can be that someone for them.
And support that kid in the background then. So like if I don't want to step up right then, when I see them later on, say, hey, I saw what happened, I'm sorry that's happening to you, so that that person knows they have a buddy.
Very big on being able to like make sure I could see my whole classroom, and also like I didn't allow kids to like joke, like if they can't handle, like there were certain things, like if they were saying something, like those were things that weren't allowed, and I always would pull them to the side. So I didn't let like small comments go. Like I always addressed it in the moment. I think I did a good job of it. I think I should have done a better job at speaking to other teachers on what they could do in their class. because it was not something that I allowed, and my students knew that.
Be observant. Like, sometimes I think we get so bogged down with our own problems that we're not realizing like what's happening with other people. So step outside of yourself for that passing period and see what's going on around you. And if someone's being bullied, then step up and stop it.
Speak up.
Take risks.
If it's something that is educational, educate.
Please don't be afraid to speak up and let that person know that you don't like that.
If you need support, ask for support. So even if it's just like your best friend comes to the conversation with you, or a trusted adult that you have comes to the conversation, and try to solve the problem as best as you can. And if it doesn't get any better, then definitely reach out to somebody in higher power who can help stop the problem.
Don't be afraid.
Be bold. Do what makes you happy.
Ask for help.
The beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Believe it or not, there's people here that want to help you.